Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another show of Success Principles by Successful Principles. For the ones who know me, my name is Kamalneet Singh. For the ones who don't, my name is still Kamalneet Singh. The name doesn't change, right? You know it. So I'm not only your host, I'm also your host in this journey of parenting, and that's how we bring to you Success Principles by Successful Principles. I know that you as a parent, you as a viewer, you as a teacher, you want that your kids become really successful and good human beings. However, parenting is something which comes easy to some, comes as a challenge to some, and for some people it can be a huge situation that now that we have the kid, how do we really raise them in the right way? I know that your intentions are the best to give your child the best. You want your kids to be successful and good human beings. I personally feel that parenting is a superpower, and if done in a right way, it can make a huge difference. And that's why we bring this project, wherein principals and administrators from different parts of the world, they bring in the best of their inputs so that you as a parent can, learn from it, implement it in your own life, and see a difference. You know, as an educator, as a principal, they've seen thousands and thousands of parents and kids every single year, and their experience brings in the real touch, the real ground level touch that makes a difference in the life of these kids and parents. And I'm really excited about our guest on the show today. But before I announce the guest, let me tell you that you are all in for a treat. And if you would really want, I can probably give you one advice, which is that if you want to make the best out of this episode, you might want to grab a pen or a paper, and some idea that hits you very hard, you might want to jot it down so that you know that after the session, what is it that you would want to do about the same. So let me give you a little brief about our guests today. We have somebody very, very special. We have a powerhouse of an individual who is somebody who believes that academics and holistic education, if it comes together, it can make a huge difference. The good news is that our guest on the show today also believes that parenting is indeed a superpower and can make a huge difference in the life of parents and their kids. So, by the way, who do we have today? So let me give you a little brief. Now, we have with us today Dr. Priti Ojha. She's a principal of Delhi International School. Let me give you a little more brief. She's a leader, a passionate facilitator, co-learner, and a teacher coach. She's sitting on an experience which is about 2 decades. She's a postgraduate in computer science from Pune University. Dr. Priti went on to complete B.Ed, MPhil, and PhD in computer science in her zeal to acquire the theoretical moorings of trainings and teaching. She has received award for most prestigious principal in National Convention of Edu Leaders and most promising principal by Global Leaders Foundation. She has recently been recognized as the LinkedIn Spotlight 2019. You know what? I have had the privilege to know her, and I can tell you that you as viewers, you're in for a big treat. Now, she started her career in software coding in a software firm, and eventually she took up a profile of a teacher in the school as her heart would want to get back to the kids. You know that, somebody who likes to work with kids cannot really stay away from kids for too long. And that's how she came back to her first love, that is with the kids. Now, she's a master trainer for core skills and is also a facilitator and a coach and has done various things. She started her journey as a primary teacher, and today she leads a full-fledged K-12 school. Dr. Priti Ojha, it is indeed an honor and a pleasure to have you on this show. And thank you very much for taking out time to be a part of this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. Now, you had a different journey, from software to, you started as a primary teacher, and today you are leading a school. So, and a journey full of stories and a journey full of experiences. Now that we are talking about parenting, and I know that you deal with thousands of parents on annual basis, and just about every parent, सभी parents का ना एक ये सवाल होता है कि कैसे भी मेरा जो बच्चा है ना वो सक्सेसफुल बन जाए और एक गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग बन जाए. कई बार ऐसा लगता है उनको सुन के कि उन्हें ना एक जादू की छड़ी चाहिए, एंड आई लाफ कि जादू की छड़ी है नहीं है. इट इज अ प्रोसेस. So what is your take, when parents say that we would want our kids to be really successful, what does it take for a child to be successful in the real life, in the real world?
Very nice question, and I'm glad that this is the first question we are starting with. So imagine what kind of questions are going to be asked in the next few minutes. But a successful person anyway is the one who has courage. A very simple word with every parent should need to understand that you are the one to promote courage in your child. It's very difficult for not holding the child when he's going near a hot cup of tea. It's very difficult. But to let the child understand the heat of that cup, make a guidant appearance around the child by letting the child know how hot it can be, by touching it a little and then showing the child. But on the first instance, the mothers go and grab the child. The first instance, the father would shout from a little long distance. The courage of the child diffuses in that particular second, which does not allow the child next time even to try doing such a thing, because they have been alarmed by such a voice and sound and their own, the ones on whom they're dependent at age from 0 to 3.
True.
So I feel that to let the child explore as much as possible at a young age, to let the child move ahead by understanding new things around them, touching, feeling, all the five senses that we talk about. Let them explore it. The minute they'll start exploring, let them decide what was not good for them, what was good for them. Both the things are supposed to be decided by the child. Sometimes what happens, mothers wear three sweaters in winters, thinking the same kind of cold weather would be hitting their child, but the child just needs half a sleeve of a sweater. They don't need it. It's written in so many parenting books that don't do what you want yourself to be like to your child. Let the child grow the way and with that stamina and that immunity which they want to excel with. And that will help a lot the child to be successful in later stages of their life. It's a long question to be answered with me with lots of instances and example. But I think it starts from 0 to 3. When you see a very confident child coming in front of everybody in the drawing room, saying hello to everyone, and then picking up a biscuit, and the father not shouting at all, the mother not saying anything, going and grabbing a glass of soft drink of the guest, but nobody telling him anything. Let the child decide, let the child move one after the another, and let everybody together teach the child what exactly they need from him rather than making that sound which will make the child underconfident at a very young age.
That's a very powerful example that you gave. In fact, that reminds me of certain instances. What you spoke about, that a young child coming into the drawing room when there are relatives who are over, and this child walks towards the table and picks up something, and
Yeah.
maybe the parents are telling him, "Beta, this is maybe on that, maybe in that moment, or maybe after the relatives had left, they are telling him that this is not the way." While the relatives are sitting there, you should not be picking it up. And I think that's a very powerful seed that you have given. I think that probably leads to a child thinking that what he did was wrong. So
Yeah.
very
I
powerful.
will add to this. What exactly? How was I told
Yeah.
to have that biscuit in the drawing room? Was very cleverly done by my father.
Right.
He said, whenever you come in the drawing room, you want to pick a biscuit, do pick it. But first serve it to everyone. Your duty is serve it to everyone. When they'll say, oh, so sweet, so cute girl, you have one. Till then, don't pick one. Give it to everyone. Keep the plate and then pick one and then have one at a time. And you can do it every time when you serve the whole group of people in the drawing room. So
That,
you
that,
understood that I'm not doing anything wrong. It's only that I have to first serve it to rest and then I can pick one.
correct. So there was a hidden lesson there. Serve others and then serve yourself.
Yes.
That's very interesting. I'm sure your father had all the principles in place already.
Thank you.
Interesting. Now, so you started your journey, and then you were in software, and then it's very difficult. And in fact, I acknowledge you for that courage and that initiative that you took, because uh, majority of the people, let's say about 80% of the people, वो जिस domain में life अपनी शुरू करते हैं वहीं पे ही खत्म करते हैं, and they proudly say, I have an uncle of mine who says, मैंने 40 साल पहले एसबीआई में शुरू किया था और एसबीआई में ही खत्म कर रहा हूँ. And I say that, if you're happy, great. But if you're not happy, then probably, probably thumping about the fact that, I spent 40 years with them may not help. You started in software, and then you realize that your first love is actually for kids. You started as a primary teacher, and to be honest, not everybody, it, I know it, not everybody makes it to the top, and you did. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
But we are greedy people, right? We want to give our parents the best. So I'm going to dive in a little personal here by asking you, what gave you the success that you have? What are your, if I have to say so, that what are your mantras that helped you in becoming successful?
I feel that I have been always looking forward for the happiness in what I do. There are a lot of attributes around your profile once you become a career with a career coming in the society. People ask you what's your salary package, what's your status in the community, how many houses do you have, what kind of a car you have. These things were, how do I explain you? But then I think these things were already there in my life at one particular time, and I've always found there is something more that I need to find beyond this, and that is happiness of what you want. And my want was always to be around those smiling faces which make me happy. When I joined the corporate sector, no offense, but then I found all the adults very serious all the time, very serious. और अगर मैंने हंस दिया तो क्वेश्चन यही होता था कि आज हंस कैसे रही है, what is so good in her life while we all are so serious. So that giggle inside you, that chirpiness in you, that to understand or to take life lightly, to not take things so seriously that that's the end of the world. That kind of an attitude I never had within me. So when I went into school, when I went into class with age group children 6, 7, and 8, I found that there are such important things in their life for which they are not being answered. For example, I still remember a child coming to me and saying that it's very difficult for me to put this button off my trouser because I'm so fat. So I don't know how to do that. Can you please help me? Because it makes me feel very embarrassed. So that's the first time when we both thought of how to put that button. And I asked him to lie down on the floor. And when he did that, the button would easily be fit into him. So he said, "Did you ever try that?" I said, I've recently gained a lot of weight, and I am trying to fit into my old clothes. And so I try this. So I thought maybe you also try. That one word of me submitting to my problem with a 7-year-old was so good that we both could say a hi to each other wherever we were around the school. And we knew that we both share one common problem, which we don't have to feel bad about. And then again, there was a happiness end of the day. Whenever you go inside the school, you have so much of baggage of home. The helper didn't come, the car didn't get parked the way that I wanted to, petrol is just going, there's only little petrol left in the car, bank balance, EMI, relationship with all the family members. There's so many things. But when you get inside the class, there are 30 faces looking at you and saying, "Hello, why the sky looks blue? Why doesn't it look yellow?" And that's a question which is not having a right or a wrong answer. But then you have to sit and then discuss and then talk, and then you realize they have so many things in mind for that one question which has come to them, and they wanted so many kinds of answers, and there's no right or wrong answer to it. So the minute you do that, you lose your connection with your children. So the minute you say, "Oh, is it yellow?" So I think today the sky is yellow to Aman, and for Jyoti it's green. So the children start understanding she's talking what we want to talk. That's the success mantra of me in schools, because when you come to their age, you don't stay at 25, you stay at 8 years of age. And when you talk exactly what they want, but then you have a bigger picture in your mind, at the end of 30 minutes I have to conclude the color of the sky.
Right.
So then the success mantra starts, because you want to tell them what they want to hear, but you don't tell them the way it is told usually in a classroom. You talk in different ways with different minds talking about it, and then generalize it. I think that's how one
You come
starts.
down to their level, and yeah, so that's one. And I think I was listening to you, and then I picked up a very powerful message. And I think to all the parents out there watching this, so the message is, if I picked it the way it is, that pursue happiness and rest of the things will follow. And
Perfect.
that's what happened with you. So pursuit of happiness. So and I think it's a bigger message than what the way we take it. So I'll probably repeat that for all the parents out there. So a lot of times I see that parents are looking for success based on very relative terms. Relative तो एक comparative वाला हो गया relative, but कई बारी parents are also looking for happiness वो relatives वाले terms के through
Exactly.
success. So
Absolutely.
लोगों को देखे he did that and he did that, and to all the parents out there, see, I'm not saying this, I of course I agree with the principle, but this is coming from a very profound educator that let the kids seek and probably pursue happiness, whatever makes them happy, and I think that will probably define success for them, instead of parents definition for the kids कि अगर आपने ये कर लिया तो आप सक्सेसफुल हो और ये नहीं किया तो आप सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो. And of all the conversation that we do today, if parents out there watching this, if you can get this message straight, that the success of my child is in his or her happiness, I think that will make a huge difference to your kids. So thank you for this profound answer. And very few people very few people, let me put it like this, very few people actually look out for happiness. A lot of people look out for something else, assuming that happiness will be a byproduct of that XYZ that they're chasing. So you did reverse engineering.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way.
Happiness will get a lot of byproducts around you for which you will be happy, because that was not your want. Your need was something which is very precious to you, and that's happiness. And I think one more important aspect here, that do not decide your child's happiness. You're not the one to decide it at all. The child has to decide what's that. Does the child decide your happiness as an adult? No. They don't decide how to make my father happy. They leave you on your own, and if you're happy, they're happy. If you're laughing loudly in a drawing room with both your hands smashing together and saying, "Oh, I to maza aa gaya," he never expected you'll be happy because of that. So when he's not expecting you to be happy the way he wanted you to be, so why are you expecting them to be happy the way you have designed a life for them? I think allow the child to travel their own path of happiness the way they want to. Some will do it sooner, some may do it little late, some may take a longer time, some may do it in 30s, some may do it in 40s, some may do it at 60s. You never know. But the point here is they will never come back blaming you ever, because they know that you had given them the freedom. You had told them to live their life the way they want to. There were some guidelines that you definitely gave them. There are some marks and points which are important for a child to clear at a particular stage of life. That's fine, but that doesn't define the structure of their life. And there, it's very difficult for a family, husband and wife together, to come to this conclusion, because sometimes the husband may say these are important things and one has to do it, but the wife would say let my child do what they want to do. Maybe the wife says no, this is the important way, academics, written exam, essential, and the husband may say let her or him, whoever we are talking about, the child, let them do the way they want to do something. So the real understanding and MOU should be between the father and the mother in a room closed without the child. When that room decides within that, when we come out of this room, nobody is going to make judgments. Nobody is going to compare our child with our childhood or with the neighbor's childhood or my elder brother's child. Then only the child will get that free environment to spread his whole body and sit on the sofa and decide now what to do next. That freedom of the body is also not given sometimes to the child because of the conversation that the couples have. So they go inside a room, they close the room, they switch off the light, they're sitting in front of a system and only looking at the system, but they're hearing all the noises. You've already cut all those feathers around him which he was using to fly. So I think your conversation, your your eyes speak volume, your facial expressions allow the child to narrate the story or stop the story. And they will never narrate their life or success mantra with you by keeping themselves in the character. Always remember all the parents here. They will always say कि फलाने के लड़के ने ये किया था मम्मा. And the minute the mother says हाँ ये तो बड़ा गलत किया, वो वही स्टोरी क्लोज कर देगा, खत्म, पीरियड, ये तो मेरी स्टोरी थी, मम्मा गुस्सा हो गई है, नाउ आई एम नॉट नरेटिंग द स्टोरी. So I think that if your child is also coming up with the things which you know are not good for the child, don't be judgmental, let him be with that story for a while, let them sink into it, let it happen to the extent that you think it's not going to harm from an outsider or an uncontrolled environment. And it's difficult, it's not easy, you very rightly said, Kamalneet, it's not easy at all to become a parent. It is like some parents think, undo kaise karenge, madam? So most of the question is that how will I undo? There is no need of undoing anything. So there is a need of you orienting yourself, husband wife together, so much before talking to your child that you know what where are you going to leave your child now upon which path. So you know what are the kind of red lights stand, you know what is the stoppage, you know who's going to be standing where. So 2 बजे तुम आ जाना बीच में conversation में, 5 बजे मैं कर लूंगी वही conversation, मैं उसकी बात लेकर बात करूंगी. You know there has to be a lot of story negotiation between the father and the mother while they want things to propel with the child. You know, the child shouldn't be told. It's a very beautiful trick, but once understood by the parents themselves, it's going to let them know how to democratically get their work done from the children. I hope no child is listening to us.
That's, I think, some very powerful messages. In fact, and all the parents out there, दो choices हैं. In fact, I picked up a couple of messages as you were talking. So one of them being that, the husband wife coordination coming in, and they say that, team works, the team, there's something which is, it's called teamwork makes the dream work. So अगर वो ड्रीम चाइल्ड चाहिए है और कि बच्चा ऐसे हो और वैसे हो, तो आई थिंक वो होने से पहले टीम वर्क जरूरी है. आई थिंक that's what I hear coming from you. And another thing that you also mentioned was that, कि बच्चों को अलाउ करो, let them probably open up. And I think, it's like a sunflower, वो खुलने वाला था and एकदम से आपने उसको रोक दिया. The thing that you were narrating, that this child is using किसी और बच्चे का नाम लेके कि मम्मा वो राहुल ने ऐसे किया, एंड जैसे मम्मी के रिएक्शन समझ आए, सो ही काइंड ऑफ क्लोज्ड कि ये तो मेरी स्टोरी है. अब मैं you reminded me of my days. From this.
No, till date, Kamalneet, today if I have to tell my husband I've purchased this sari costing 15,000, I will say, oh, शर्मा जी ने अपनी वाइफ को 15,000 की साड़ी दी, बेकार किया ना पैसे. So he'll say, नहीं नहीं यार, अगर अच्छी साड़ी थी तो ठीक है. Then the next day I will show my sari. It happens even with the adults, that we first test the current under the water, that how exactly will it be done, and children know it from a very young age.
True. So अब पेरेंट्स आप देख लो, आपकी तो लॉटरी लगी हुई है, बिकॉज सारी गलतियां आपने नहीं करनी है. यू आर गेटिंग थिंग्स ऑन द प्लेटर. एंड माय फादर इन लॉ कीप्स ऑन सेइंग दैट, कई बारी ना बादाम खा के अकल नहीं आती है, ठोकर खा के आती है. सो आई थिंक ऑल द पेरेंट्स आउट देयर, the good part is कि आपको जरूरी नहीं है ठोकर खानी है. I think we have these wonderful educators who are giving these ideas to you on the platter, so that आप ये implement करो. सारी गलतियां खुद मत करो, because a wise man said that we'll not live long enough to make all the mistakes by ourselves. So we'll probably have to learn from things from outside as well. So brilliant, and you gave some very, very powerful inputs, and I'm sure parents watching, if they can implement, it makes a profound difference in their life. So now that we're talking about how a parent can do things, and probably some ideas what parents can do or cannot do, what would be your top 3 recommendations? I heard you talking about, कि Sharma ji wala आपने example दिया, and then so what would be your 3 ideas? Parents के लिए top, I know there will be 300 ideas, but then उसमें से top 3 कौन से होंगे?
Okay.
Some suggestions for parents.
Yeah. I have lots of them. But to begin with, any age group, any day, the best thing is that पहले तो बात बहुत करें बच्चे से. Don't expect समझ जाएगा. मैंने भी तो समझा था. मेरी भी तो ये struggles थी. आते आते इस उम्र तक बच्चे को समझ में आ जाएगा. नहीं. There is so much of media exposure. There are so many peer friends always waiting for another friend to call and give them free advices, that your advice will have no impact on the child. So you have to make sure that you're talking to your child. quite a lot, and not talking in the sense आज क्या हुआ स्कूल में, आज क्या किया तुमने, आज क्या कौन सी किसके साथ खाना खाया था, कौन सी तुम्हारी फ्रेंड है अभी, कौन सी बेस्ट फ्रेंड है, वही वाली फ्रेंड है जिसकी पिछले बारी तुम्हारी लड़ाई हुई थी, you know. No. The talk should be always very healthy in the sense, what is your today's lesson that you have learned today, आज क्या क्या हुआ. And when they say and they speak and they laugh and there is some kind of flaws, never be judgmental. तूने तो गलत कर दिया, ये करना नहीं चाहिए था. No, not at all. Let the child just flow like a river in front of you, and you are just the one who's looking at that river and enjoying that sound. That is all that one has to do in the communication. Communications are of various kinds, and your body will communicate a lot, your face will communicate a lot, your even keeping things in the house and cooking will also communicate a lot to the child. Do not think that they're naive. They're observing every bit of yours. You might be getting dressed up in the evening and going for a walk. Maybe that particular evening you're not going for a walk. They will contemplate. मैंने बोला है शायद इसलिए आज इनका mood off. No, it should be absolutely nothing to do with the conversation that you had with the child. That's extremely important. And no communication should be, which should be like not contributing flaws in it. There are a lot of flaws in you, there are a lot of flaws in the child, and submitting is important, because then nobody can take advantage of that flaws. I feel that if the child doesn't speak much, that's something that both of you should talk about, and you have to understand and tell the child that if you don't speak much, you are not able to let me know, but then you can always write and tell me if you think so, or you can sing and tell me if you want to, or you can call me anytime when you want me to talk to you, but don't sit around the child all the time saying तो बोलते नहीं, वो देखो वो तो बोलता रहता है, इसलिए उसकी कम्युनिकेशन होती रहती है. जरूरी नहीं है कि बच्चे के बोलने से ही कम्युनिकेशन हो, कि आप अपने सारे दिन की बात बताइए. मैं आज सुबह 4 बजे उठ गई, मैंने मोटर ऑन किया, स्विच खराब था, मैं सीढ़ी के नीचे पे भाग के गई, आज पता है कार वाले ने कार नहीं पोछा, मैंने कार पोछा, ओहो मेरा तो हाथ दुख गया. बच्चा बिल्कुल चुप है, पर वो आपके एक एक वर्ड को सुन रहा है, और वो ये जान रहा है कार खुद पोछना खराब नहीं होता, मोटर ऑन करने के लिए 4 बजे उठना चाहिए, ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मम्मी ने ही ली हुई है, पापा ने भी ली हुई है, पर उनकी शाम की है. He will put it in the right slots where they want to, and the communication is happening. Do not ever think that the child's silence is no communication. So two things I've said, that submit to flaws, second is communication, and third that I feel is that many parents forget in serious issues that you have to be very friendly with them. You know, some of the children suddenly stop talking to their parents because they have fought with a friend, and if they will narrate the story to the parent would definitely not understand them but the friend, and they will say अच्छा तूने ऐसे क्यों किया, तेरे को करना नहीं चाहिए था. But if you become friendly and say हो गया कोई बात नहीं, give it some time, but not saying that you are right or you were wrong, you know. Every place, whatever I'm trying to let you know, do not compare your child in any situation with any time, with any past, with anyone in the future. That is the best mantra for you to connect with your child. अगर आपका दोस्त आपका बच्चा आपका दोस्त बन गया ना, तो उस दिन आप प्रसाद चढ़ा दो मंदिर में, because
I loved it.
because that's the day the door of his life will open for you, and then you will say आज तो मुझे नहीं मिल रहे दोनों, I don't know मैंने रात में कहाँ रखे थे, मैंने कोई बात नहीं, मेरा दोनों मिलके ढूंढते हैं कहाँ पर है, कोई नहीं आज तो ब्लैक पहन के ही चला जा, क्या होगा देखते हैं, तेरे को पनिशमेंट मिलती है तो क्या मिलती है देखते हैं. So then the child will know that she is there with me in my all kinds of small or big routine, good or bad. They will try to trust you. दोस्ती में सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज होता है वो ट्रस्ट आने लगता है. तो अगर दुनिया में सबसे गलत काम मैंने करके है ना, जो उसकी नजर में सबसे गलत है बच्चे के, वो आके सबसे पहले अपने फ्रेंड को बताता है, और फ्रेंड अगर पापा या मम्मी है, इससे अच्छी बात और क्या हो. So you will know what to do with my child. Apology करनी पड़ेगी तुझे, ऐसे ही चलता है सोसाइटी, तुझे तो माफी मांगनी पड़ेगी, बट आई एम देयर विद यू, चिंता नहीं कर, आई विल टेल यू हाउ टू डू इट. देन द चाइल्ड विल नो, ठीक है, मतलब इज्जत घटाने वाली बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, दे आर टेलिंग मी दैट दैट्स द नॉर्म of two human minds, that if you do something wrong, irrespective of whoever that person is, and you have accepted that you have done something wrong, then say a sorry. And how to say a sorry, that I will tell you. So the parent and you have then again holded hands together,
Partnership, correct.
पार्टनरशिप हो गई.
Correct.
तो बच्चे को ये समझ में आ जाएगा कि आपको भी समझ में आ जाएगा एज अ पेरेंट दैट दोस्ती करनी बहुत जरूरी है, और दोस्ती के जो जो एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं, आपके तो दोस्त होंगे ही, पेरेंट्स को उनको पता है कि दोस्तों के साथ कैसे रहना होता है, इग्नोर करनी होती है बड़ी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स लाइफ की, उनके साथ सीक्रेट्स भी शेयर होती हैं.
That's I'm deeply impressed with the points that you spoke, and there was a huge learning for me also. In fact, मैं देखता हूँ कि मेरे बादाम काम कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं, because I do eat almonds. So one of the things that you mentioned was that avoid the flaws. बच्चे गलतियां करते हैं, and सभी बच्चे करते हैं. Do not वो राशन पानी लेके उन पे नहीं चढ़ना. I think let them make the mistakes is what I heard you saying. And second, you spoke about communicate, and what I loved about this is that all the parents out there, the beauty about the message was that कई बारी अगर बच्चा नहीं बोल रहा है, so stop comparing कि मेरा बड़े वाला तो बोलता है, छोटे वाला नहीं बोलता है, या मेरा छोटे वाला बोलता है, बड़े वाला नहीं बोलता, या शर्मा जी का बच्चा तो बहुत बोलता है. Sharma ji, somehow I think this is on a joking note, Sharma ji seem to have some out of the world DNA. That was just on a lighter note. All the Sharma G's out there, don't take it.
Yeah, we are very sorry if we have offended anyone. It's just an ABC we had to take. So
correct. So, and then what you said, what moved me was when you said कि अगर बच्चा नहीं बोल रहा है, and you are sharing that सुबह उठ के 4 बजे मोटर चलाई, and then मोटर नहीं चल रही थी, I had to go down and सीढ़ियों के नीचे जाके मैनेज करना पड़ा. The guy who washes the car, he did not show up, so I cleaned it. I think very powerful कि बच्चा ये पिक कर रहा है. That I was thinking that there was a last minute challenge that you faced, you dealt with it, and you also defined कि गाड़ी साफ करना अपनी कोई खराब बात नहीं है. And कि ये messages जो हैं बच्चे के अंदर store हो रहे हैं, and when the right time comes, बच्चा अपने आप ही देख लेगा कि अरे संडे को कहीं जाना है, तो संडे को तो वैसे भी गाड़ी वाले भैया आते नहीं है, so let me clean it. If mama can do it, I can do it. I think very very powerful is a very powerful message. So all the parents out there, so बच्चा नहीं भी बोल रहा, so कहीं ना कहीं आपने बोलना है. And third, you said become their friend. And I think ये जितने पेरेंट्स देख रहे हैं, मेरा तो मन कर रहा है मैं आपको एक असाइनमेंट ही दे दूं. The assignment is that have a goal this year, and your goal is that your child should be able to go out and tell his friends कि मेरे पेरेंट्स सिर्फ पेरेंट्स नहीं है, वो मेरे फ्रेंड्स भी हैं. And I think if that happens,
absolutely,
I think फिर वो बल्ले बल्ले हो जाएगा. I think everything will fall in fall in place. And very 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 powerful messages that you gave. So I have one more to ask, and I know that this should go on, but then there's something which is burning inside. I need to ask that. So competition बहुत है, we cannot ignore it. While our parents were growing up, technology का इतना impact नहीं था, आज है. Job market, businesses, बहुत सारी चीजें impact हो रखी हैं. The truth of the world as of now. So अगर बच्चे को if one has to have that edge, अगर बच्चे में वो एक बात होनी चाहिए, so बच्चा कौन से skills सीखे या क्या सीखे at an early age, so that will make a difference in his life and he'll be able to stand out from the crowd. So क्या होना चाहिए?
बिल्कुल. इस 2 साल के पेंडेमिक ने, मैं इसको दूसरा साल ही कहूंगी,
yes,
2 सेशन में
yes,
मेरे को एक ही चीज बार बार दिमाग में मेरे आती है, and it tells me that what is one thing which is making you move Preeti ahead? What is that every day that you have learned in your childhood which is allowing you to move ahead and surviving in this pandemic? And that is the intelligence to create solutions for a problem. That's the only skill. If one child has, they can survive anywhere on this earth. And for that you don't need schools, for that you don't need skill workshops, for that you need children to be exposed to various kinds of circumstances. So one is this, during this lockdown period, I think most of us must be talking to each other, जहाँ पे रोज लड़ाइयाँ हो रही होंगी घर पे, because एक मुद्दे पे आते आते वो मुद्दा इतना फूल जाता है, तो लड़ाई हो जाती है, तीनों चारों लोग फिर अपने अपने कमरे में चले जाते हैं, because all 4 minds are unique. We have to accept it. And age doesn't matter here. So the child has to be explained at the very young age कि बेटा आज मैं तुझे पढ़ा रहा हूँ. Just keep a small case study in front of the child. आज मैं तुझे पढ़ा रहा हूँ. You're becoming and you will become a principal. You have to lead a school. But what this corona comes again after 25 years and 3 years के लिए फिर से schools में ऐसा हो जाए, how will you survive? And you're out of the job, how will you survive? Let the child think. The child may say, पापा मैं ना रेडी लगा लूंगा. From the very close vicinity, they've seen a lot of रेडीज around, जहाँ पे लोग illiterate से illiterate भी खड़े होकर कुछ ना कुछ बनाते हैं. क्या बनाएगा रेडी में? You don't know anything to cook. पापा मुझे चाय बनाना सिखाओ. I will make tea. One child may say that. And some children go to any level. I have done that small kind of an interview from 7 to 8-year-old kids. One girl said, मैं झाड़ू पोछा लगा दूंगी. मेरे को बाई बननी है, फिर मैं बाई बन के कर लूंगी. एंड आई से वो फिर तो बहुत थक जाओगी तुम फिजिकली, और तुम्हारे में तो इतनी ताकत है नहीं बेटा, फिर और भी तो कुछ काम सोचो ना जो तुम कर सकती हो जिसमें औरों की भी जरूरत पड़े. सो चिल्ड्रन कम अप विद डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ पॉलिसी, प्रॉफिट एंड प्लानिंग of a small business of a kind which can be done independently. Right. If the child will know the skill of independently working, believe you me, you have allowed the child to become confident. You have allowed the child to now start communicating. The child is now thinking to find a solution, so he's a critical thinker. You're asking the child to prepare a radio of a different kind which attracts all the society members, so you're making the child creative and imaginative. Now you're also thinking of promoting it on the social networks, and now your child is getting digitally literate. And because the child is not going to do it after a few months, as the child told you in the policy and profit, so he will also make a team, or she will also make a team, so they'll become a leader. So some of the skills which actually prepare an individual to survive are not always there in the books. अगर समझिए अर्थक्वेक आ जाए, सारे सर्टिफिकेट्स यहाँ के वहां चले जाए, आपको कहीं से नहीं मिले, आपको अब सबको बताना है मेरे अंदर ये स्किल है भाई, मुझे ले लो. तो कैसे आप करोगे जब तक आप वो चीज खुद क्रिएट एक छोटे स्केल पे नहीं करोगे? आप उसका एग्जाम्पल अलग अलग जगह नहीं दे सकते. तो बच्चे को बोलने से नहीं होगा, आप उसके सामने सिचुएशन क्रिएट करो. आज कॉपियां नहीं है, काम कैसे करेगा बिना कॉपी के? बता. आज टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है, आज वीडियो नहीं चलेगी बेटा, आज मैम की बस आवाज सुननी है. अब बताओ काम कैसे करो? Give them a situation like what we do. We give them some colors and we take out few major colors from it, so that children start using those few colors and mixing it together to make more colors. So what happens is that from a very young age, allow the child to do things which you might think is a wastage of time, but putting plates on a rack, completing a task of cleaning the whole slab spick and span, by making sure the table is ready, punctuality exactly at the lunchtime, to make sure there's a timer and tell him that now your geyser should be switched off, make sure your geyser is switched on now. Things like that will bring a child in a clock pattern and understand the need of it in the house. ये छोटा घर ही आपका workshop बन जाएगा, and you will realize that this entire house is going to create a child which no school, I guarantee you, no school can teach until you two members of the family allow them to learn.
And that's a very strong message, and that comes with a lot of benefits to the child. And I picked up those words when you said वो एक कोई सीरियल आता था घर एक मंदिर, तो मैंने ना आपके जब सुनी ना ये so घर एक workshop, that's घर एक workshop is my takeaway from what you just said.
Absolutely.
That if parents can create an environment out there, and parents सोच रहे होंगे हमारे लिए तो बहुत काम है, हम सोच रहे थे it's going to be an easy ride, लेकिन आपके लिए actually काम है. Parents out there, you have work to do. But what madam just said, अगर आप situations दे दोगे बच्चों को, तो I think बच्चों के दिमाग का ढक्कन बहुत जल्दी खुल जाएगा. They will start thinking out of the box, because you are presenting them situations which might not happen today, but हो सकता है possibility हो आने वाले time में. मैं कहता हूँ ना भी हो. He has developed or she has developed a problem solving approach, and वो problem solving approach के साथ बहुत सारे skills आ गए. वो बच्चा communicate भी करेगा, imagine भी करेगा, वो सोचेगा भी, critically सोचेगा भी कि भाई कैसे मैं निकालूं इसका solution. And I think एक situation देके you are probably वो जैसे spider web का अगर आप एक string हिलाओ ना तो पूरा हिलता है.
बिल्कुल.
मुझे लगता है कि आपने एक सिचुएशन रखी तो बच्चा ओवरऑल चीजों को सोच पाएगा. Very powerful. So the takeaway for you as parents is that give them imaginary situations. And I love the fact that कि अगर आपने वो वाली बात जो बोली ना कि earthquake आ गया, हाथ में कोई सर्टिफिकेट तो है नहीं दिखाने के लायक, अब जो हो आप ही हो, So you'll have to present that. So parents out there, I'm sure you picked these ideas, and I'm very sure you are doing these things in your school as well.
Yeah, we do that. We bring these children in a different situation. We allow them to do things that they want to, and we allow them to fall.
Right.
And we applaud for them because he fell and he got up. And now he's discussing what to do. मेरे को चोट लग गई है, ऐसे हो गया है, वैसे हो गया है, मैं नहीं करूंगा ये game. But I am so happy that at least now the child is standing, climbed stairs, went to the class, sitting and discussing what happened with me, and never ever I will do this. So one lesson, ये काम उसके बस का अभी के age में नहीं है. So nobody tells him, "तू तो यार ऐसे." That is one rule that we keep it in a classroom, that you will not tell the other child that what are your flaws. It is only the child to reflect. क्या उसमें सही है, क्या उसमें सही नहीं है. But peers तो peers होते हैं.
Also correct.
Peers to peers होते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत तो चलते हैं, but then there's always a teacher around.
Which is very powerful. I see that that also instills self-awareness in them. जो भी आपने बात बताई, and I think that's very, very powerful. No wonder the school has touched such great heights and has gathered a great name in the education fraternity. And now I know the reason behind what is happening. So which is really, really appreciate your ideas, which are out of the box, and I think बच्चों को इनका benefit मिल रहा है. And I think all the parents out there, थोड़े ideas आपने भी लगाने out of the box, so that eventually you will reap the benefit of your child. स्कूल तो ये बोल पाएगा कि yes कि ये बच्चा हमारे स्कूल से पढ़ा था, but then you as a parent आप बोल पाओगे कि ये मेरा बच्चा है. He or she is my child, and that's what we are striving for. That you can say that, and so I wish this goes on, but I know that you'll have things to be taken up, and I really want to acknowledge you and thank you for these out of the box ideas, brilliant insights, and आपने जो the examples that you gave, वो daily life के examples, and anybody watching this could correlate. हम मेरे घर में भी ये सारी चीजें होती हैं.
बिल्कुल.
Thank you very much for your time and your generous efforts. I'm sure parents watching this will greatly benefit and will make a difference in their life and the life of their kids.
Thank you so much, Kamalneet Singh. And I think you're doing a wonderful job spreading this awareness among the parents, because usually what happens, it becomes very tiring for the parents to every time listen from the school and the school orientation programs and the class teachers and various other people and the stakeholders of the school. But you being an outsider of the school are bringing this new flavor to the parents. So I think now they should understand the need of it and how important their role in the life of a child is. So thank you so much.
Thanks to you too. All right.
Thank you.